Hello, I hope you're doing great today. I did want to provide some brief analysis on the presidential debate between Vice President Harris and former President Trump. I thought we finally saw it that the vice president showed her skills, the sharp thinking skills that we've seen before during the congressional hearings uh, with Bill Barr, the former Attorney General for the Trump administration, in the Brett Kavanaugh Supreme Court hearings. She showed this the other night during the debate. Sharp thinking, she made her case to the American people. She got under President Trump's skin, talking about this, the size of the crowds, talking about, he's a convicted felon. And so that President Trump took the bait and didn't react particularly well at times. But I caution in that, in my opinion, it wasn't the blowout that pundits were saying. I think President Trump did a good job at providing, putting that doubt in, questioning the immigration policy of the Biden administration, which I think is fair, particularly in the first 2 years of the administration. They were slow to act to what was going on, to this great influx of immigrants that clearly a lot of localities couldn't absorb. I also think President Trump did hit on inflation, and that's something that he should continue to to focus on, as well as, and while I am consider myself to be an environmentalist, I think something that President Trump should continue to focus on is the cost and how reliable the transition to the renewable energy platform or sources that the Biden administration has promoted. It has to be affordable. I agree we need to move to different sources, but it has to be affordable. And if all of a sudden gas is $5 a gallon, then that's not realistic and not something the American people can absorb. Coming away from this, I think the best lines for the vice president were on abortion. The visual that many of us have heard of the mother who was having a miscarriage, and we keep hearing these stories where the abortion laws have gone too far. Most Americans, I think, would agree have gone too far. The other way is if a woman needs that medical care in the case of some kind of miscarriage or other medical emergency, they need to be able to quickly get the care that they need. So that was very good. Also, Vice President Harris had a win, I feel, in foreign policy. There is that concern that President Trump has become so buddy buddy with Vladimir Putin of Russia that we question, if he becomes president, would he say to Mr. Putin, "You can have Ukraine"? That is not our American ideals. The same thing with NATO. I get what President Trump is saying. They're going to pay, but that's our other countries in NATO need to pay their fair share. Absolutely. But that's really not what it's about. It's about the free world defending against the totalitarian regimes of China, of Russia, of Iran, trying to expand and limit the spread of freedom throughout the world. That's what NATO is about. So I do think the vice president had a victory with that. On the other side, President Trump, when he said to her, "I'm speaking," and it was a reference back to in the 2020 presidential election debate between President Harris and then or soon to be Vice President Mike Pence, where she said, "I'm speaking," and I think to some degree that was a good point. I think right now there's a pushback on whether when women speak, absolutely, we have to get better about listening to women and letting women voice their opinion. But some people are saying, well, we all should have a voice and we all need to be heard. And I think maybe what's happening with males is that men are saying we want to be heard too. So we need to get to that middle ground. So that was a kind of a good one-liner by President Trump. Going forward, what my recommendations would be: President Trump, Focus, don't focus on the personal, focus on policy. He does need to come up with some kind of vision for what our healthcare policy should be. He never really got there during his presidency. He needs to focus on inflation, absolutely. Focus on immigration without any crazy out of the world, about Haitian immigrants eating pets. That shows him to be out of the mainstream. But he can focus on immigration. He can focus on energy policy. That's always good, saying we can't go too far too fast. And I think he can gain some, and he can focus on as well foreign policy. That yes, when he was president, we didn't have, we weren't involved in all these wars. So whether that's legitimate or not, it's a truth. So he can try to use that as a point to make with the American people that things would be more stable under another Trump presidency. On the other hand, I think the vice president did a good job in this debate of reminding, and she should continue to do that, reminding of the daily chaos that some of us felt really was the Trump administration. Every day you didn't know what was going to happen. It was very unnerving. She should also focus on, yes, inflation is bad, provide a very in-depth, detailed a plan for how to get out of this when it comes to groceries and other items and services. But I think she should do more with focusing on, hey, the Biden administration much more effectively addressed the pandemic. We got out of it. We had people who lost so many jobs during the pandemic. We had food lines, and the Biden administration did bring us out of that. So I think there should be more of a focus on her part on that, and as well as abortion. I think that's something that will get women voters out and others who support women's reproductive rights. And I'm a moderate, full disclosure, I'm a moderate on that subject as I outline it in my book. But I think the vice president did a good job in this debate, and we'll see what happens going forward. Thanks so much for your time. Please like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear your opinions on how the debate went as well. Have a great day.